Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Lisa Fulford, your creative coach, and today is my Technique Tuesday. I have a really fun fall card to show to all of you with a fun technique, and it's one that I've done in the past, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. So I was going through some things on Pinterest and came across this technique, and I thought that is something that I would like to start doing again. And so I thought, well, if it's one that I've forgotten, maybe some other people have also. But if you've never done this before, then I hope that, seeing how I do it will make you want to try it and see what you have in your craft space that you could do this fun technique. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll get started. Give me just one moment. All right, there we go. So this is the card that we are going to do, and the technique is called kissing. And so it's fairly easy to do. And then I just cut a little bit of this off, and I wanted to showcase the leaves in this card. And so I brought in some new paper, and this is a new stamp set that has these leaves in it, and I'll explain how we do that in just a moment. But we're going to use a few of our supplies. I have a stamp here, and it's from the Autumn to Remember. And so this is a fun little set that has like September to Remember, Bountiful Blessings, Crisp Autumn Days. And yesterday I did my Make It Monday, and I showed using a leaf. I don't remember if it was this one or another one. And I used the baby wipe technique. So for Monday, you got the Make It Monday with a technique thrown in that one too. And so I thought, well, I want to kind of stay with that theme, but I came up with a kissing technique. I didn't come up with it, but I came up with that for tonight's creative part of it. And so we're going to use this leaf right here and this Bountiful Blessings. So I hope that made sense. I'm going to pull out my leaf right here, and we're going to do something different with that. And I'll explain that in a moment. And I already have my Bountiful Blessings on my block. And then we're also going to do the sketched plaid. Now this is, a full-size background stamp. You could do that on the fronts of your cards. You could put it on the inside of your card, but you would ink it up, and then you would turn it over and you would stamp with it. But we're going to do something a little bit different with that. So I always like it whenever we have supplies and we can get the most out of our supplies and we can use them in different ways. So with the kissing technique, that's exactly what we're going to do with that. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'm just going to lay this right here. And then the colors that we're using are Cajun Craze, Granny Apple Green, and Pumpkin Pie. Those all seem like they were pretty fall colors. Now I am going to do the stamping here just a little bit different. I'm going to choose some different colors. I didn't want them all to be the same, because when you make as many cards as what I do, you end up having a lot of cards that are alike. And so sometimes I want them to be just a little bit different. And then for our card pieces, let's set that over there, we have Daffodil Delight, and we're going to do something a little bit different with that. And I'll give the measurement for it in a moment. We have a scrap piece of Very Vanilla. We have a piece of Very Vanilla, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then this piece is also Very Vanilla, and it's 1 1/2 by 4 1/4. We have Pumpkin Pie, and this one is 1 3/4 by 4 1/2. And then we have 2 pieces of DSP, and this DSP is new, and it's called Sweet Days of Autumn. So our stamp set is Autumn to Remember, and our DSP is Sweet Days of Autumn. So we have 2 pieces. The first piece is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then our second piece, we're going to use the back side of it, and it is 5 1/4 by 2. So there is that. And then with the stamp, we're going to do some stamping first. So with the stamp, it's a distinctive stamp. So on one side, it has veining and different things. And you can see, you might not be able to see, but it's kind of got a more dull look on that side. And you can see the veins and different things. And it's a distinctive stamp. For this one here, you can see how it's shiny. But on this side, it's kind of dull. So this is the side you normally would stamp with. But we're going to stamp with the opposite side. So I'm going to take that dull side and put it down so that the part that's showing is this part that you normally would put down on your stamp. And I'll explain why we're going to do that here in just a moment. So I want my scrap piece of Very Vanilla. And then I have my background stamp here for a design. And if you can see here, see this leaves, they have a pattern in them, and that's what our technique is. So I'm going to start out with, let's see, I'm going to do the pumpkin pie. So the first thing I want to do is take this stamp. That's the flat edge. There won't be any distinct to it. And let me see if I can. Yeah, I'll grab this Post-it note. And if I stamp with this, you just get kind of the outline of the thing all filled in. It's kind of a blob. So I'm going to ink this up. Then I'm going to stamp onto my background stamp. I'm going to go straight down, come up, and then stamp it on your paper. That's called the kissing technique. And then see how that is, it took the pattern from our background stamp and put it onto our image here. All right, so I'm going to take, we're going to do that again. Take and clean that off. I'm going to clean this off. Close this. We're going to bring in Granny Apple Green. I've tried doing darker greens, but they're a little bit too dark. So the Granny Apple seems to be, works a little bit better. So I ink that up. I just randomly find another place for it. Bring in my paper and stamp. So this is essentially taking some of the ink off the stamp. So we ink it up, put it on here, and then now the ink is on this part of it. There we go. See, we have another pattern, and they're all different depending on where you put it on the background stamp. But now, just to show you, see, the ink is still on the this pad here. I just want to show you, we're not using that, but I just want to show you that you could do this and then you could use the background stamp if you wanted. Like if I did it, several of these, I could do it in different areas and then stamp it onto a piece of cardstock and you could use that. But I'm not using that. I wanted it to take the color away. So there's that. So let's clean that. All right. So that's how you do the kissing technique. I don't know if you could stamp the background, then put the leaf stamp to that. I've not tried it that way. I just started with the solid stamp. So if you have a solid stamp already, you do not have to flip it over and use the back. So if it's solid to start out with, you just put it on your block the way you normally would. Then you ink it up, put it on a background stamp or any stamp that you have that is larger than the one you're starting out with. And then it takes off some of the ink, and then when you stamp, you have the pattern. But considering that one was a distinctive stamp, then I wanted to take some of that ink off and give it a pattern to that. So I hope that I am making it where you can understand and that it's clear. All right, so we're gonna put that over there. Now these, you have to fussy cut them because there's no dies for them, but I've already done them and already fussy cut them out because you don't want to watch me fussy cutting, because this is for techniques. So I'm going to take this Very Vanilla, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Now, a lot of times we have a piercing mat, so that whenever you're using the photopolymer, it will stamp a good image. But my work surface is basically a piercing mat, so that's why I don't bring it in. But if you don't have something like that, then you'd probably want to use our piercing mat, especially with the photopolymer. All right, so I'm going to bring in the Bountiful Blessings and ink this up. And I want to do my best to center up and down and then kind of bring it to the side a little bit. So it's a little closer to the left. There's an opening on the right. That looks pretty good. So I hope you'll try this technique of the kissing. It's really fun trying to come up with different patterns and different things. You could use like a floral pattern. Look at my hands, they're all got ink all over them. You could do like a floral pattern, like a stamp that it's not a background stamp, but like it's a large enough floral pattern, and then you could stamp with that. It's endless possibilities that you could do. Okay, so I don't think that that's going to rub off. My thumbs are orange. Instead of a green thumb, I have an orange thumb. We're going to start putting this together, and then we're going to do something different with that card base. So I like to give glue on my corners. And I want to center that on there. Move that up there. I'll take this piece of Very Vanilla, and this is directional, so I want to make certain that I get it going in the right direction. I want to line it up, the right and left edge and that bottom edge. Oops, I had glue on my finger. Use my glue eraser. We used to sell these, and if you don't have one, they do sell them on Amazon. All right, so I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. So those there, over here. We're going to take this card base, and we are going to remove 1 3/4. So this is 8.5 by 4 1/4, or excuse me, 8.5 by 5.5, and we scored at 4 1/4. And then we're going to put it in our paper cutter, and on one of the ends we want to take off 1 3/4. So that's there. We're trimming that off. You don't need that piece. All right, so right here is where we took the 1 3/4 off. So that is a full card base, and then this is just a flap here. So I'm going to put the mountain on the inside. Bone folder. Increase. I'm also going to take this sander have these little rough edges on my card. You can use a nail file, or you can buy those sanders on Amazon. We used to sell them, and for whatever reason we don't anymore. So I'm going to add that to right here. And like I said, this piece here is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's just a 1/4 step down from what we had left on our card front. So we're going to line that up and press. I'm going to add this to the inside. This is a 1/4 inch smaller. There we go. Glue off still. Alright, so far, this is our card base. I'll have to lay flat a little bit better. And then I have our Bountiful Blessing. And I'm going to take dimensionals, add them on all 4 corners. In the middle. All right. Pick that up, make sure it's going the right way. And we want to add that to our card front as straight as we can get it. So I'm kind of looking at my design on my TSP there. And then I need to take some of the minis and put them along, oops, this bottom edge of the, here's my scissors, they keep sticking to my nails, along this bottom here. So about like that. Okay, and we're going to take those backings off. This one. They're small, they're hard to get. All right, so then I'm going to take, I'll take my green one, take one of these larger dimensionals, put it right there near the leaf stem, take that backing off. Then I want to kind of crisscross a little bit the stems. Kind of like that. And then I need to put another dimensional right about here, I think. Yeah, I think that'll work. All right, so I'm going to take that one off. And what I was doing is I want it on this one, because this one's raised up, because I have a dimensional on that one. We need a dimensional behind this one, not behind the green one. We'll just put glue for it. Because when you have this one already raised up, if you put it down on there without that dimensional, it'll sit crooked. We don't want that. So I'll put some glue right there. I know I'm working with that area there. So I want to bring this up. Make certain my leaf is not extending. Yeah. Like that. Well, there's a little glue showing there, but I think it will dry clear, and then if it's tacky, I will fix that. So then with the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, we have these different colors. And I took this last one down here and I doubled it and made a double bow. So let me find my glue dots. Pick this up and I'm going to kind of roll it around. So I don't want it to be flat. I need to kind of roll it into like a little ball. Put it on the tip of my scissors. And I'm going to put it right here. Bring my knot to my bowl right up there. Stick it down like that. So there's that so far. I'm going to bring in just a scrap piece of paper here and my spritzer that has Wink of Stella and alcohol in it. See, you can see all that Wink of Stella down here in the bottom. Just shake it until it stirs that up. Some stuff off my desk where it's going to be painted in Wink of Stella. I'm just shaking it. Alright, so now then, I'll take and I'm going to be probably, I don't know, 10 inches away and spritz it. And there is our card, Bountiful Blessings. And it opens like that. And then here's the first one. And here's the one we just made. So this one has the Cajun Craze and the Daffodil Delight. And this one here has Pumpkin Pie and Granny Apple. And I know it kind of covers the G, and this one here has it on the S as well. But I think that you can still tell what it is. So that is my technique. So just to recap, I have my leaf on upside down. Then I ink it up, stamp it onto my background stamp. So I stamp it on there. Then you stamp it on your paper. So ink it up, stamp on here, stamp on your paper, and then that gives you that design. And then you clean it before you go on to your next color. And so it puts the excess color onto this stamp, and that's what gives it the pattern. So whenever you lift it up, what ink was here is now on there, and it leaves spaces on your stamp here to stamp to give it the background. So I hope that I explained that well, and that you will try this technique. I found it to be a lot of fun. You can come up with different patterns and different, as long as it's you've got a background, and then as long as you have a solid. So, like I said, you can flip over, this was a leaf, so you can flip over your stamp and put any kind of a pattern on there that you want. So, I sure hope that you'll give this a try. Like I said, it's one that I forgot all about, and once I saw it, I thought, I want to bring that back, because we used to do this technique, and so I wanted to bring it back into my card making, and I thought it turned out to be a really cute card. You could add some embellishments on there if you wanted, and whenever I decide who I'm going to give it to, I probably will add some embellishments, but for right now, it was all about the technique. So I hope that you'll stay tuned to my channel, and that you enjoy what you see, and I want to thank you for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.